Let me ask you something. Are your projects really under control? Or do they only appear to be? When you, as management, ask your project in charge, how is the project going? And the answers sound familiar? Everything is okay. Almost done. Just a few things left. I will get all the signatures tomorrow. No problem. I can handle it. From these answers, everything seems to be under control. But a few days later, one client is angry. The project is delayed. Another is unhappy. Quality is poor. Payments are stuck. Change orders are pending. The subcontractor is threatening to stop work. And suddenly, everything is not okay. Now the client demands, drop everything and fix my problem first. This happens when there are no standardized systems. Everyone is working, but in different ways. Without proper systems, even the best managers can fail. Because in construction, consistency is more important than capability. And without a system, consistency cannot be achieved. So, how do we stop this from happening again and again? What is the right way to manage a project effectively? This is where PDCA comes in. Plan, do, check, act. A simple cycle that keeps projects under control. To execute a project successfully, we need answers to four basic questions. What is to be done? How it is to be done? When it is to be done? And how to ensure that it is done? Most projects don't fail because of execution. They fail because requirements are not clearly defined. To avoid this, we must first understand what exactly needs to be done. A project starts right only when it starts with clarity. So, before we jump into planning, we need to first understand the project requirements. Start with the scope of work, along with the time duration and quality expectations as defined in the contract documents. Then, identify all stakeholders who are involved or may be affected by the project. At the same time, assess possible risks and hazards before execution begins. We may use simple tools like brainstorming, risk assessment matrix, SWOT analysis, or expert judgment. And most importantly, learn from past experience and consider preventive actions right at this stage. Because when requirements are clear, execution becomes clear. Knowing what needs to be done is only the first step. Because execution depends on how well we plan it. So the real challenge is how it is to be done. Let's break it down. Once the requirements are clearly understood, the next step is planning. Start with clear goals and objectives so that everyone understands what is expected. And these objectives should be SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. Then estimate quantities from drawings and break the project into smaller, manageable parts using a work breakdown structure. Next, define how the work will actually be executed through proper procedures and engineering. Identify the required resources, plan for quality, and ensure safety at every step. And finally, set up the site infrastructure to support smooth execution. A good plan doesn't just guide execution, it makes execution predictable. Because planning brings structure to execution. Now we know what to do and how to do it. But in construction, timing often decides success. Because even a perfect plan can fail if the timing is wrong. So the next question is, when exactly it is to be done? Let's break it down. In construction, timing controls everything. And that is where scheduling becomes critical. Because scheduling answers the key question: when should each activity happen? Begin by listing our assumptions on which the entire plan is based. Then arrange activities in a logical sequence and identify their dependencies. Where possible, minimize dependencies and run activities in parallel to save time and optimize resources. Next, estimate resources and define realistic durations for each activity. Always remember, time and cost are closely linked, and in most cases, time drives project cost. So focus on critical activities because they determine the project timeline. Keep contingency because the unexpected always happens. Do resource leveling to ensure smoother distribution of resources. And finally, prepare the schedule, budget, and cash flow and communicate them clearly to your execution team. To make better decisions during planning and scheduling, we can also use tools like Six Thinking Hats, which help you look at a problem from multiple perspectives: logic, emotions, risks, benefits, creativity, and control. Because a good schedule turns planning into execution. Now we know what to do, how to do, and when to do it. But the real challenge is, how do we ensure everything stays on track? That is the most critical part. Projects don't fail because of poor planning, they fail because they are not controlled. Because without control, even the best plans fail. So, the most important question is, how do we ensure that it is done? Let's explore it. To keep a project on track, we must continuously monitor and control it. That means we need to track what is actually happening against what was planned. And we keep asking some very simple questions. Are there changes in scope? Are we on time? Are our assumptions still valid? Are resources performing as planned? Are we within budget? Are quality standards being met? Are we working safely? And are risks still under control? Because any deviation, if not controlled early, becomes a major problem later. But monitoring alone is not enough. It must be supported by proper recording and reporting. Only then we have reliable data to take the right decisions. Next, identifying the gap between the present state and the desired state. And once a gap is identified, control it immediately. But don't just fix the problem, find the root cause so that it does not repeat. Because what is not identified cannot be controlled. Then take corrective actions and preventive actions to ensure long term control. And to further improve efficiency, we can use tools like time and motion study to analyze activity sequence, resources involved, and time taken for each task. In construction, success is not about working harder, it is about managing smarter. That is the real difference between managing a project and merely running it. Managing a construction project is complex because it involves multiple activities happening together from start to finish. And it is not just about engineering, it requires planning, coordination, monitoring, and constant decision making. That is why every project needs a proactive management system to keep everything under control, so that the project is delivered on time, within budget, with the required quality and safety. In most projects, scope and quality are already fixed, so the real challenge is managing time, resources, and cost. And at every stage, we must clearly understand where we have constraints and where we have flexibility. Construction management is not a one time activity, it is a continuous cycle. Plan, do, check, act again and again. This cycle helps us identify gaps early, take corrective actions, and continuously improve performance. Because improvement never stops. Ye dil mange more. Follow the system, and the system will control the project. For more practical management lessons, subscribe to my YouTube channel Ask Ajay Smart Learning.